Okay, so I covered already all the sectors after the Friday close. In this video, I'd like to cover the miners. Now, I was thinking about covering all my portfolio holdings, all the miners that I hold, as well as all the miners I'm looking at, but I'm looking at all of them because I'm looking for the miners I'd like to add to my portfolio on the way down. I do think there's definitely a potential that we go lower. And I think a lot of people are just looking to add. I mean, I've seen enough. I'm convinced that the miners will not go. I mean, anything can happen, but I don't think the miners are going to go to new lows or even anywhere near their recent lows unless you really have a liquidity crisis, absolute crash where the miners get taken down. But to be honest, the latest crash we've had, the banking crisis, they went up in the absolute opposite direction to the markets along with gold. And it was really the outstanding asset class. I mean, Bitcoin also went up, but not with the same ferociousness as gold. And also, even the VIX didn't act like gold. I mean, gold was the new VIX. So for me, I'm convinced that gold, silver, and the miners are really going to do well, almost no matter what happens. But look, if there's a pullback and it's healthy to have a pullback, we've just gone up in one steep line here. You can see the GDXJ, which is basically following gold. Obviously, gold is at 2000, so absolute all-time highs. I think silver will follow, hit 28, 30, and then after 30, 50. I actually think that's coming. I don't think we're going to believe it when it happens, but these things happen, and when they happen, it's almost too late to chase the stocks. But again, silver needs gold to hold 2000, and actually I think gold needs to be above 2080 for silver to really say, okay, it's time to go, to go to 30 and then 50. And I think that's when, as silver starts to march to 30 and 50, the miners are going to take off. And if there is a bit of a healthy drop, let's say the miners here, I'm looking at GDXJ, goes down to 40, just above 40 or even lower, or let's just say all the way back down to this area here, this ascending trend line. I mean, I think when we're there, people are going to freak out and think, oh my God, we're going lower. This rally's over, just like it did here. But that's when the banking crisis happened and we just marched higher. So in the end, the charts is what you should trust more than anything else. Any narrative, any expert opinion. I trust the charts more than anything. But look, emotion gets in the way. But I say that to say this. I'm convinced, at least at the moment, when we're all the way up here. And either way, I'm looking for some miners to add to. And I realize that they can go down quite a lot. We've had a massive move up, and here we have a pretty big move down. I don't know how much. Maybe we're not going to go down. Maybe this was the pullback back to the ascending line. But look, we could have a 5 to 10% move down, and the miners will get trashed, especially the juniors. They're very sensitive to moves up and down, especially the silver juniors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my portfolio. And actually, I'm going to do another video immediately after of all the other miners I'm looking at, because otherwise it's going to be a 1.5 hour video. Who the hell wants to look at that, even if you love the topic? So let me start with Newmont. I think we all know what gold, silver, and the GDX and GDXJ charts look like. They're just one steep ascending move up. And as soon as you close below that ascending line, you could have some pretty big drops, at which points you'll get probably a lot of buying. And then you start to get these hammers, a bit like this one here in Newmont. But then again, the GDX actually had a nice buy the dip moment on Friday. So it's not the worst looking candle. Now, Newmont has got this Newcrest merger. I'm not into all the news, by the way. You guys will know more than me. But, I can see that Newmont has not been as strong as, let's say, Agnico-Eagle because of this merger, let's say. So Newmont, for me, I'm just holding what I've got. Not the strongest chart. It could go lower, obviously, if we have a pullback. And I haven't looked at these trend lines that I've drawn sort of days ago, maybe even over a week ago. I think this generally looks okay. So, I mean, I'm not going to add to Newmont. It's actually my heaviest holding still, even though I've trimmed it, whilst the other ones I've actually added to or held what I've got. So, but for now, you can see it's sort of holding this trend line. I think this trend line makes sense. Look at this big move up after breaking out of it, and also before it was a trend line. And also we're near 50, so that's generally makes sense. If we go lower, I'm not going to be aggressively buying. I think this is generally a trend line about that area. So I'm just holding what I've got. I don't think there's a descending. No, not really. That doesn't really work out. So let's see. I mean, it's, moving on news. So I'm just happy holding Newmont. Agnico-Eagle doing very well. You know, got to remember we've broken out of this descending line. I think it really respected that line because we broke, you know, we closed here just below it. And then we broke out of it and retested it and went higher. And this is obviously a worthy trend line. And now we're holding above that, you know, despite yesterday's brutal, I say yesterday, you know, Friday's brutal smash, you know, down 1.5%. Agnico-Eagle for me is probably the best senior mine. The little I do know about all the balance sheets and all-in sustaining costs and all this, I'm pretty sure Agnico-Eagle is sort of top three of the senior miners. So for me, I'm ready to buy dips. I just don't think there'll be much of a dip. But I'll tell you what, if there's an absolute smash, buy sort of a senior like this because it won't go down as much as all the medium juniors. So I wish Agnico-Eagle actually went lower, but so far it's up here. And that's also why I'm not going to add to it because even though I'm pretty, yeah, it will, you know, it will go all the way to its old high of sort of 90, 100. I think it will do that and run. But 100% is okay in the miners, you know, if you consider how much some of them have already gone up and if they are going to visit their old highs along with the GDX, GDXJ and gold going to 2,500, silver to 30, you know, 100% is just okay. But still, Agnico-Eagle is something I'll buy on the drop. But I just don't feel like chasing. It's, you know, you've got to compare it to other miners that are also guaranteed to go up in a bull market, and it just doesn't rank as high. So I'm not going to chase it. But if we have a massive smash, I see it as a safety defensive play. Barrick Gold, yeah, this trend line probably moved up here now, but similar, right? Not even down 2%. Compared to some of these silver ones that I'll get to later. I think it's, you know, one that I'll also buy, but like Agnico-Eagle, it's a safe defensive senior that I'll buy on drops on trend lines. But again, I've got enough in them now. I've actually spread my weight around. They're all worth sort of the same amount. So I'm pretty happy to just hold what I've got and not chase higher. If we go lower, I'll probably add to it, yeah. So, but very happy with gold, Barrick Gold holding what it's got. Wheaton, it's really, really impressive. I mean, I don't have too many miners that are really all the way up there and holding up very well. Now it was down 2.5%, but look how much of a move it's done. It's essentially at the second last level of resistance before reaching this absolute high over here. And you know, it's higher than its 2011 high. And there are not many charts, not many sort of established miners, senior miners that have been around for, you know, 2 decades that have performed like that. So Wheaton for me is probably one of the best performing miners. But similarly, you know, how much of a percentage move can I expect for it? You know, 13% to get here. It will get there. You know, it will. Especially if gold and silver start to move, it'll get there pretty quickly, I guess. But it's not a massive move. You know, you could do this move in 2 days on any silver stock. So for that reason, I don't have too much in it. I'm not adding to it because, again, you know, first of all, we're at pretty steep highs. Second of all, there's not the greatest return percentage, but that's why I'm holding what I've got. I'm certainly not selling because, I mean, the only reason I would sell this is to sell this and get into a smaller one that will move a lot more. But I have a lot of cash on the sideline, so I don't need to sell it. If I had like not enough cash, then I would sell this and flip it into, you know, First Majestic, Discovery Silver, something like that. That could do 13% in half a day. So I'm just holding. So really, I'm holding what I've got on all of these. So very happy with them. Just not expecting the biggest move out of them. Pan American Silver has actually lost its trend line, unlike some of the others. I mean, I should really zoom in to make this very accurate, but you can see what I mean. You know, it's lost its trend line, and this is what I'm fearing. I'm looking forward to it in some cases, but I'm wary of this. You know, as soon as you lose your trend line close below it, then you start to, okay, down 4% is not that bad, but you know, you could start to see minus 7% and a move back down here. But Pan American Silver for me is a senior that just hasn't gotten off the ground. I think the jurisdiction hurts it. But I think it should be trading higher, to be honest. So this one's worth like the others, but I would be more willing to buy this than the others because as soon as we come back down, we're testing sort of lows pretty soon. But I don't want to get too much into one stock, so I do want to sort of spread the weighting around. But this one here, I'd be more willing to buy than the others if the drops continue. Plus, it's silver, and silver I think is going to move a lot more than gold. Okay, gold fields. I mean, I've been trimming this constantly. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the whole story. I trimmed on the way up here, bought back, trimmed, bought back heavy down here. I was very proud. I trimmed very lightly on the way up here, trimmed this breakout, and I've been just nibbling a little bit because you know what? I know it's going here. When we started to reach here the other day, I did actually trim again. When I say trim, I've got a certain weighting, and let's say it's 4,000, and it pretty much is. I keep saying 4,000. It is. As soon as it goes up, 7%, 10%, and it's worth 4,400, I take out 400. Now it's still worth 4,000. So every time it goes up, I'm basically selling what I've made. And sometimes when it gets really overextended, and this is what I thought at this period here, I trim more than what I've made. So that, let's say I start the day with 4,000, it's worth 4,400, then all of a sudden it's worth 3,750. So I've sold more than what I've made that day. And that's how I sort of slowly reduce it. And it's beautiful. You feel invincible. You're selling more than you make. You start to want it to go back down. So you want to lose money, but you've made so much. But Goldfields for me was obvious. We made this massive move up before we started to come down after the Russian invasion, and we came down. And then there was this buyout rumor with Yamaha, which brought it further down. And as soon as basically Pan American and Agnico bought it out instead of Goldfields, look at that reaction. It was obvious it wanted to return to where it should have been. So I think that this one was really great money, well called, and even technically on the bounce. I bought a heavy amount. I really am very proud of that. But how much more can you expect from Goldfields? It's great stock. It will go up. I also think that there's definitely a chance that it comes back down to 12, let's say 50 here, this breakout zone, if we have even the smallest retracement, because I feel it. I feel that it's. I mean, look at that. I don't buy these types of moves. I buy smashes, not sort of steep moves up like rocket ships. Yeah, 10% to reach it's basically high. I don't think it's all-time high, right? If I zoom out, it has been high. Let me just check the weekly. Yeah. Okay, so it could definitely go higher, but how much? And if you zoom out of any gold and silver chart, they're all absolutely wild and can do like 500%. So 10% to get to the old highs of when gold was at 2,000, which is where it is now. That's not amazing. If we extend that move and we pretend it goes even higher, 20-25% to reach the sort of highs of up here. And I think that will be a trend line. When we get there, I think we will get there. 25% is nothing. You can do that honestly in 1 week on just an average medium tier stock. So for me, I'm trimming not only because this steep, ridiculous vertical move up, but also because I think it's lost the ability to move up more. And down here, obviously, the percentages look so much better. But we've done a crazy move. I'm not into buying into these stocks. So I've been selling this. Haven't been buying into it. Obviously, it hasn't retraced yet, but I don't plan on. Maybe if it gets to 12.50 here, it's such an obvious bounce zone, depending on what's happening with the dollar rates, the markets, and all that. But if I see a general bounce, I'll probably add a little bit. But not that much. I'm into more selling than buying Goldfields. Yeah, besides maybe a bit of a drop. But very happy with what it's done. Now, Mag Silver, absolute opposite. I'm not impressed with its move up. It has not moved up that much. I've hardly sold any. I think I've trimmed it once. But because obviously I bought the drop here. I bought basically all the miners when they drop, but not happy with this move up. I will not be buying when it goes back down because I think a lot of other miners that have a greater chance of bouncing should be bought. I can click on almost any other stock, and if it starts to go down with the miners, I know they're going to move up. Mag Silver, I'm just inclined to think it's just going to bounce a little bit and maybe even drop. I know there was some dilution back here. It was actually outperforming some miners, I remember, but this bounce is kind of pathetic. I mean, if I take from the absolute lows, 25% is nothing. Honestly, absolutely nothing. So I'm not happy with this one. If it drops, I may even add nothing. I may even sell what I have when it does bounce. I may add the smallest amount, but still I'll be selling more so that if it returns up here, it'll be worth less than what it is now. that's how I'm basically going to be using mag as a short, a psychological short. I'm going to be selling into it more than I buy. So not happy with mag silver. And I'm not sure whether I should even sell some in anticipation of a drop, but how can you sell the miners with gold, silver doing what they're doing? And basically you zoom out and you compare gold to the miners, we're at absolute highs. I'm sorry, if you compare miners to gold, we're at absolute lows. It's the same thing. But so, you know, miners are not exactly a sell relative to the gold price. But yeah, let's just say if it goes back down again, I'm probably not going to buy any. If I do, it's the smallest amount. And if it does bounce from that low, I'll be just selling into it. So the money from Mag Silver is better deployed elsewhere, in my opinion, unless there's some good news and it just starts to catch up and outperform. That would be great, actually. Okay, Aris Mining, what I used to call Gran Colombia. I'm just wondering whether this would work. Not really. This one I think is a good mine. I think it should be higher. Obviously, it's not going to go higher now that gold and silver are sort of leveling off a bit. A lot of resistance up here. I didn't get to sell it actually, but for me, it's a good mine. You know, it should be much higher, I think. If it goes low, I probably will buy a little bit. Yeah, because I don't see much chance of it going much lower. And I do see a chance of it going up quite a lot. And to be honest, it's got 100% potential in it. And if I zoom out, okay, this gives the wrong picture. It was a stock that was left for dead, and then it was actually very well managed, and the debt was well paid off, and it came back from the dead. So I don't see it going all the way up here. Now, if you know a little bit about trading, these things don't happen. But a squeeze, definitely possible. But you know, before a squeeze, you can get 100% move. So for me, this is a good candidate. Definitely holding. Won't be selling because I think selling you won't get much and you could be caught out. Actually, I will be buying on any massive drop. So I think, you know, maybe 280s or 270, something like that. I'll probably be buying a little bit more. And I think as soon as it breaks out and closes above this descending, especially above this horizontal 370, let's say, to be sure, we go straight up, you know what I mean, 480. That's a nice percentage. And if there's a real bull run, you know, 2,100, 2,200 in gold, which could happen really soon, silver at 28, 30, this thing is just going to go straight up. They're going to be chasing all the juniors, and this is one of them. And then when it gets there, you know how it is, people buying gold at 2,000 rather than at 1,600. When it gets up here, 660, people are going to be squeezing this thing. And I mean, there can be incredible returns. Look at these moves. So 100% is just pretty basic stuff, I reckon. So I like this one, and it's almost the opposite of Mag Silver. I mean, it hasn't bounced a crazy amount like Mag. It has outperformed it, but the potential for the moves up, I think, are phenomenal. Fortuna Silver. I don't like this Argentinian jurisdiction, but sorry, Mexico. And I don't know that much. They may even have some operations in Argentina. I don't think they do, but Mexico, I'm quite sure of, and I know there are some problems with the federal government there. But Fortuna is a well-established silver stock, a silver mine. Technically, look at this descending now. We're failing just at the wrong moment, whatever you want to call it. But just as we're failing, it was just as we tagged this descending. You know, we could have a small move lower if gold, silver, and the miners go down. But if you start to close, and I don't like too many trend lines, but it's a very important one, I reckon. If you start to close above this horizontal, which means you've cleared the descending, you know, 425, let's say. I mean, this thing is obviously going to tag this, but probably going to go straight through it up here, as long as the sector and the metal are collaborating. But, you know, zoom out, Fortuna, really, it's a 100% mover. $8 for 100%, no problem. You can see how $8 is quite a resistance zone too. I mean, we took it out and ran to almost 10, but, you know, hitting our head several times. I think Fortuna, a silver stock, good leverage on the silver price. It's, I think, fundamentally got good operations and all that. And there's some good news recently that wasn't really bought, but look at this technically. You know, it's not like other stocks that have already ran quite a lot. This one hasn't. And you zoom out, for a well-established silver stock that's been around for a long time, this is a 100% mover. And that's with silver probably just getting to $30. So I like Fortuna. I think it could come back down. And yes, I will be buying more of that if that comes back down. I much prefer buy Fortuna than Mag Silver, for example. CDE, this one here. I bought it recently. I really was a bit of a schizophrenic, which I never do. I just sort of, I don't want to say freaked out. I just thought for a second I should be buying a few silver stocks. And actually, Fortuna was another one. I just thought we're going to run here, and some of these really good silver stocks that can run. And Coeur d'Alene is one of them. In fact, it's one of the, for me, one of the ones that I count on the most for a crazy run. I mean, what are we, $4? Of course, we can go lower. I actually sold some the other day because was it 2 or 3 trading days ago, I bought quite a bit more. I was like full size. And then the other day, on Friday, in fact, whilst we started the crash, I freaked out and said, no, we're going to go back down. I'm too heavy. So this is the one where I freaked out on. Fortuna was another one, but both of them I really like. I just went through Fortuna anyway. Coeur d'Alene is a similar story, but $4. Look, we will go all the way. This is one of the ones that will get bought. We don't care about balance sheet. When there's a squeeze on, even the worst run companies get bought, and this is not the worst run company. But $4, look, 8 is just so easy. You could do that in a month pretty easily. It still goes to 30. Coeur d'Alene's at $8 for me. And you know what? It could even be higher. So, and it's had some really nice moves. 2011, what a monster. Look, and I suppose there was dilution since then, but yeah, this is one of the ones where if you're right about silver going to 30 or 50, this is one of the ones where you look back and say, oh my God, I should have put money here. So even though I trim my position, it's just me being greedy for the move down. I will definitely buy this back if we do move lower. If we start to break out, I don't want to become a schizophrenic again and just rebuy what I sold at a higher price, although it's not the biggest difference around here, especially if you zoom out and you're right. But this is one of the ones that I'm looking to for making very good returns. My opinion is a junior silver with great gamma squeeze potential. EXK has already bounced quite well. It hasn't got that much spectacular return potential. So, I mean, Coeur d'Alene could do 200% easily. This one, EXK, I expect, a 100% move from here is above its high from back here. So, but, it reacts well to silver. Normally, when you have silver up, 2-3%, and the silver stocks are up 4%, this is one of the best ones. This is always the one that's sort of up 4, 5, 6, 7, 8%, like CDE, like Fortuna, and like First Majestic. First Majestic is similar. So although it doesn't look like it can run as high, it usually has great returns. So it's one of the ones, and I never want to have too much in one stock. So this is one of the ones that I add to the basket to spread the risk, even though they all sort of move in tandem. But I like EXK, and you can see how it's moved and reacted very well to the silver price. If we break back down again, obviously we have 380-ish zone as a buy. But if we have a move lower, put it this way, I'm going to be watching the sector ETFs, the dollar, the rates, the markets, and seeing how because if I see it's going to go even lower, then obviously I'll try and get out the way. And you can be greedy on the way up and on the way down. But I like EXK. First Majestic, another one, this I would say is an established senior silver miner, unlike the other ones that we've looked at so far, but trades like a junior. It had, I think the market thought it was bad news. It flushed down here when they halted their Nevada, was it, operation, which was just a costly operation. So I think it was actually good news. I bought this dip, beautiful, sold into it a bit early, didn't expect this huge metals bounce, but sold the rest at the top here. We kept on going, and I think it's just been overbought, so it failed to keep going. And now that we've got a bit of a move down, look, down 5% the other day. By the way, CDE was down 8%, that hurt. But which is also why I trimmed a little bit during that day. But First Majestic is just tired because it's done a hell of a run. I mean, imagine filling the gap since that minus 25% drop on Newsday and then going higher. That's rare, So if we have a drop, I do expect First Majestic to keep going lower. But I think it's a great buy, mid sixes, obviously depending what's happening. But if you can get it lower, get it lower. But I think it's a great, the fact that we've already closed this gap and we're still closing around it, I think is a testament to how the news wasn't that bad and how it will move up with the sector. If silver starts to run at the 30, First Majestic will be probably closing above 10. And for me, as soon as you close above this descending, especially when you're above 10, you're going to go to 14, which is, by the way, a 50% move just from 10. So First Majestic, great return potential, and it's not the riskiest of stocks. It's a pretty well established. It's not some exploration that's going to go bankrupt, needs money. It's good. So I like it, a bit like the other silver miners I've covered so far, which is why it's on my list. For me, I'm not into really exposing myself to very risky ones, but I am looking for them on the retracement if they get much cheaper. But the ones on my list I consider pretty safe, except these three down here, which we're going to get to. Discovery is the last silver one. Now, this one did some dilution the other day, and I bought just before. So I actually chased it. Was it 94, 95? I just thought, we're going to run. It was that sort of 1 or 2 days before Friday. And then we just started to drop. So I actually lost on my last buys. Obviously, my average is great. I'm in the money. And I like this stock a lot, so I don't mind it going down. Did I buy on Friday? I'm not even sure anymore. But let's put it this way. This one is looking like it could go down more because it closed kind of near low of day. It doesn't look like it here, but that was not a real drop. It's like an illiquid penny stock style, so it's not a real drop. Well, at least I didn't see it hit there. But closing below 90 cents for me suggests if we have more of a move down, this will definitely go lower. But what a buy in the sort of 80s, low 80s, 70s. I would love it if it goes down there. I will be buying quite a lot. I don't care, dilution, all this stuff. This is one that will definitely go up hard. Like, we will be at $2 or more if silver's at 30. I don't care what's happening in the background, the business. I don't see it going bankrupt. I don't know too much about the financials. I know they diluted to raise cash, but I knew that was possible. I heard a recent CEO interview with some channel on YouTube, so I knew it was coming. I didn't expect it to happen this week, by the way, but I don't care. I'm pretty damn sure that this one is going to survive financially. It's not one of those risky ones. They got an amazing discovery, not because of the name. I heard that it's one of the best silver discoveries ever or something. And yeah, I see it just going up to $2, not going bankrupt. And this dilution is just an opportunity, well timed with a drop in silver, by the way. That means you get it at, imagine that below 80 cents. Imagine 75 cents, it goes to $2. I mean, even where it is now, 100 and something percent. And then what, by the way, if silver starts to go to 50, there is no chart for that. So, but by then, probably not going to go up as much as others, but I'm looking for 100%, and if I've got half of my account or the whole account up 100%, honestly, that's retirable stuff. So, but anyway, that's not good risk management talk either. Okay, Turmalina, this one, these three down here, Turmalina, Trillium, and Reyna, and actually this one here, US Gold Corp, what's it called? Yeah. These four are the risky ones. These are the absolute epic juniors. So these are the risky ones, which means I have nowhere near as much. I got sort of half of the value of what I've got in the others, put it that way, maximum. So they'll never be worth more than half of the others, but still they're at absolute lows. And I think they will survive and do quite well. And, when they're illiquid and people start chasing them, you see the ask just go like 2, 3, 4, 5 cents above. And it's funny how on the way down, it's the same way as on the way up. They just like, the moves are incredible and with very little volume. Now, this one I did buy down here. I'm very well positioned in this one. No problem. I think the resistance line speaks for themselves. So, on the way up, I think 30, 34, then descending, then here, I think I don't need to really explain it. You can see it. And I think there are phenomenal returns, as long as they survive and they start to move with the gold and silver price, which this one should. It didn't do it much, but at least it did a little bit. But if you have a sustained move for gold and silver, this one, I mean, look, just to move it here, which should happen in a week. Like, let's say gold goes to 2,100. I think all the miners are going to get bought, and then they're going to start chasing the juniors, which hasn't actually happened yet. And this will happen just like that in a second. Silver at $30, forget it. You're going to have some silver stocks up 33%, just okay ones, you know, in one day, followed by another 28% the next day. I've seen that. I've seen that during the Corona days. I saw some minus 30% moves in GDX in one day. I've never seen that before. I remember just being dumbfounded. But then we covered all those losses and went even higher. So, you know, a move up here, easy. That's 75%. If we start to move back into the general area, look at this chop over here, and this is nowhere near the highs. But, you know, go on, let's dream a little bit. 300% just to get here, just to get to $1. That's of course that's possible if you make new high. We're basically there. You know, gold is there, silver isn't. So there's a delay. There's a delay for silver to catch up with gold. There's a delay for the juniors to catch up with the seniors. And these are the last ones to run, and they're the biggest ones to run. So this one I like. You can see the trend lines and the potential returns. Trillium is the one that's moved the least. It scared the hell out of me down here. I refused to buy, although I bought the smallest amount. I remember making a video saying this is the last buy. I was selling basically just around 19, but I didn't do enough. And I think I bought once or twice. But to be honest, I had quite a bit in this one the whole way down, and it was just worth less and less and less. And I did sell here, and then I wanted to start rebuying, and then it started to flush. And I bought here. Thank God I waited and pretty much caught the bottom, but a very small amount I bought, so it wasn't worth that much. The point is, I haven't sold any yet. And look, it was green on Friday on a down day. That's a good example of there's just no more selling left. If we move up, honestly, if we start moving back up to 90, I'll be selling just below 19, like 1889, something like that, just to make sure I get the fill. I think this one will trade a little independently of gold and silver, but let's just say if gold and silver really run and sustain the move, this one, the returns, I'm not going to be stupid and just say, okay, let's see when it gets back to its old high, forget this. Although I like to see that number. You know, let's say we just get to this area, that's 500%. You know, $1 definitely could do it if it survives. It's, by the way, it's well placed in a good jurisdiction. I forgot the name. Surrounded by really good mines. Oh, that's embarrassing. I forgot the name. Is it in Canada or in America? I don't even know. But anyway, it's a very well Red Lake, very well established jurisdiction with very good mines. I don't know why it's worth that. I haven't heard a CEO interview in a while. I don't think it's a fraud. I don't think it's going to zero. I think it will survive. I think it could raise cash if it needs it. But I also think that if we start to have a bit of a run in gold and silver, this is the kind of stock that will absolutely make incredible returns. And, you know, if I have the emotional discipline to hold off from selling, although I know what I'm like, I sell at every technical level, this could just be a crazy one. And if there's someone in this stock with a big amount of cash who holds out, they're going to make incredible returns. So, but you know, anything can happen. It could also go bankrupt. So that's why I always sell the trend lines, just to make sure I do the wise thing, not the sort of fantasy strategy. So that's probably the one with the craziest returns. Reyna silver, this one came all the way back down again. I think it had some pretty good news releases, but it sold off the trend lines. I sold this one very well. I had it was worth quite a bit. I sold here and here, made good money, didn't touch it until basically the lows here. And I bought it again, just like Trillium. I bought it at the same time, so it was hitting the lows. It went a little bit lower, but obviously now I'm up from that buy. What I think will happen and what I really want to happen, I think it will actually go higher. And I think it can go even higher and go back to here. So again, I will sell, you know, I won't sell 30 because in case it doesn't make it, I won't even sell 29. It'll be 28.89. I always sell the same sort of levels to make sure I actually sell, because who cares where it goes, whether it goes to 28.89 or 29 and 10 cents. If it goes back down again, it's the absolute same thing. So I'll be selling 28.89, and if it goes higher, probably 33.99 or 89 again. So sell, and if it starts to squeeze higher, I'll probably sell the rest. But it depends, actually. If silver is starting to run past 30, I mean, this is in Mexico, by the way. It's got like a young local CEO. Mexico is not the best, but you know, if there's a run, there's a run. And this one, from where it is, another one that can make easily 200% potential real fast, just as fast as they lost it. So, and I remember it back here. So I definitely think it can get to this choppy period of just 80 cents. And, you know, from where we are, go on, let's just imagine I don't sell and it goes all the way back up to 80 cents-ish. you know, 200 to 300%. Amazing. USAU, this one I bought just independent of the gold and silver price. I started to buy, where was it? I think it was around here. Was it Tuesday, Wednesday? I think it was above 5, the first buy, then it was high 4s, and actually I bought 424, was it 420 to 426 the other day? So my average is, let's say, 470, I'm guessing. For high 4s, doesn't matter. It can go above 5 in one day. And I think it will actually. Now, obviously, if the miners drop, then change of plan, but you can see why I bought it. It was one of the many ones I got all the way up here that I'm watching that I thought had potential to squeeze. And then when I checked it next, it had squeezed, plus it was coming down. And now it's just totally, I don't know if this is news, by the way, or just technicals, and I don't care. It's come all the way back down again. That warrants a buy. That's why I bought it. So very happy. And actually, I bought it 3 times, so it's actually worth the same as these guys now that I've been holding for a while and managing very well. This one is just a bit of a swing trade, actually. So if it goes back up, I'll start selling, maybe first sell just below 5, which will be above my average. And then the rest, I don't know, I'll take a guess, maybe just below 6, and the other one just below 7. All out. Thanks for the money. Ciao. And then I'll be focusing on all the other ones as real long-term holds. This one is more of a swing trade. And that's it for the miners. I wanted to cover the others, but I don't want to bore you guys with loads of minutes. I'm going to do another video just for those. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Honestly, there are some that I like, some that I trust, others that I don't know, or they've been recommended. I'm just going to go through all of them. That's the kind of video I would like. I'd love it if someone else did one, because I'd like to pick up their miners and see what maybe something I've missed or something I don't know. I'm just looking for some more miners to buy on the drop. Otherwise, I'll buy the ones I've currently got, which I trust and know. And there are some others here, all the juniors that I don't know as well. But it'd be good if you guys know other people who do something similar to what I'm doing here. Anyway, I'll try and do another video straight away, but I hope you enjoyed my portfolios.